Hey, what's happening, coaches? I want to do a short video tonight, just talking about one particular blitz slash pressure out of our odd looks. It's basically the old school Crossfire Blitz, but it has a read and react component to basically evolve based on what's going on off the stimulus response of the offense. So this is called Booger, and 33 tag to it is basically 3 under 3 deep, which in my vernacular would be Ruby coverage. Okay. Um, Booger, the reason I named it Booger for this Crossfire Blitz is backer observes opposite guard. BOOG. Backer observes opposite guard. Okay. This goes great, especially with like the mint personnels, some of the 3-3 personnel packages nowadays. Can you do it out of a 4-2? Possibly. Probably, if you were going to do it, it would have to be up against an unbalanced line where your line has shifted over, right? But basically, you'd be treating that center as the new center of an unbalanced line as the observation point man, okay, for the linebacker. So what this basically is you can play it out of 4 techniques, you can play it out of 5s, you can play it out of 4 eyes, however you want to do it. But what's going to end up happening is your 2 defensive ends in your 3-man front are going to spike to 5 techniques on the snap, and they're playing back out or scat control, okay, to that side. So looking at this picture here, say this H or running back F, depending on the offense, basically the ace back here. Say he flares out on the snap, that guy's going to spike and then run with him and try to cover him man to man. Now, is it going to be super effective? No. I don't expect a 200 and, depending on what size school you're at, I don't expect a 250, 280 pound defensive lineman to try to run with a 210 pound running back who runs a 4.4, 4.5 40. Okay. The whole goal is just to put color on it so that the quarterback doesn't want to throw it there. Okay. You can play different coverages behind this. The reason that I like the 3 under 3 deep is because it works versus 2x2. It also works versus trips based upon the way that this could play out. So let's just talk about it from this picture and 2x2 for now. Okay, the nose is going to spike towards the running back side. Okay, on the snap, you've got your 2 ends spike into 5 techniques on the snap, and the linebacker to the side of the running back is going to kind of creep up and then try to hit the gap, the A gap, running away from the back at the snap. So it looks like, in this case, this look that I'm showing right here, this would basically be Okie. This would be Okie Buck X, right? And then the nose would be going opposite of that. So, and he'd basically, the linebacker, the buck here, it'd be a Lou call because it's the defense's left. So you get lined up on the snap, all that stuff. This is how this would look. But the play call is Booger 33, okay? And this just tells the defense everything we're doing. You've got your Rip Liz players here between the nickel and the weak safety, or the will. Your free safety is going to roll back to a deep third. He is basically, the free is free. He's run past Kean, and then after that, he's reading the eyes of quarterback off of the pass read. Corners will play a mod, man on deep on number 1. If you get crossers, etc., we're going to play this a lot like Ripley's match. We're just missing a hook player out of this, okay? So if you get crossers, say the number 1 goes inside and underneath, then he's just going to zone off his third, okay, and start packing that deep third zone. For mesh, those types of things, that way we're ready for something inside coming back up the seam. Now, the whole thing that makes this work is this linebacker observing the opposite guard. Okay, you can see here in the red and green, if this guard opposite that running back blocks down, the linebacker is going to insert right now hard off of his tail. Okay, right in that gap, plugging. Okay, because what that means is we're probably getting some type of gap scheme. We're probably getting something like that. We've still got an overhang to that side with the linebacker, and we've got the weak safety rolling down. So we are double overhung to that side. So we're good on leverage. We just need that gap clogged. Okay, this chaos of this backside, the buck linebacker in this case, creeping up and hitting that A gap on the run should create a bad angle for the center at the least, especially if he's right-handed. At best, he's going to try to pick him up with one hand, with his left hand, which that's a tough block if you've ever played center, especially when you've got a nose spiking away from you, okay, to your right, to the side that your hands, you know, as you snap it, it's stuck under your thing, and then you're trying to pop back up. You got a nose pulling this way, and then you've got this guy. One of those guys is going to come free. Okay, and that's part of the play with this, is trying to get that chaos in the middle. Now you get that down block from the guard. Let's just say they're trying to run, I don't know, the old school base play off of this. Okay, so we're going to go to the drawing board here for just a second. If it's still up, what did I do with it? There it is. Okay, let me clear out what I had. We'll go 2 by 2, and we'll play it from our end here. What am I doing? Sorry, guys. It's been a long day. I feel a little under weather. I'm not sure if it's allergies or what. Something's going on, but I do want to keep putting content out there for y'all. All right. We got this. We've got this. We've got the Will, who's going to be spinning down the free corner. Okay. And the way this should be looking, he's spinning the Rip Liz, he's spinning this, he's scooch technique on the Rip Liz there, and we've got Mod, he should be creeping and hitting that on the go, he should be spiking, hitting that on the go. Now, the arrows aren't necessarily indicative of depth. I do believe fundamentally in penetrating about a yard deep or heels of the all linemen, then finding the football. You get any deeper than that, you're just asking to get reverse, kicked out, etc. Okay, so let's show this highlighted in purple. Him keying this guard. And we'll say base play here, where he's just going to try to man up this. We're going to try to get a combo to the backer here. This guy's going to try to pull around. He's reading the block of the tackle for what his job is. Okay, say we get a scoop back here. You get the back coming across, quarterback read off that way. Let's say they just want to run a simple fade out that way, and then on the other side, let's say they just go something simple like stick. Okay, alright. Relatively common concept. You're going to see this a lot, especially with an air raid team. A lot of these spread option run teams you're going to see. Okay, why does Booger work? It clogs things up and it creates chaos at the point of attack, and all you're trying to do with this is basically make it so that the offensive line is wrong no matter what. Okay, anytime you're pressuring, anytime you're sending heat, anytime you're doing something like that, you need to have sound coverage behind it. You need to understand that structure and how that is affected by doubles, trips, quads, empty, etc. You need to understand that, whether or not you need to keep the pressure on or not. And if you can keep it on versus heavy personnel groupings, double tight, tight end wing, if they heavy unbalance to one side, etc., tackle over. You need to understand that. And then up front, your whole goal is you're just trying to win. Okay, the guys that you want to get home are your most athletic guys. You want to create a mismatch with talent over whatever it is. So let's say this pulling guard here on the backside is a quick kid, but he's not very physical. Okay, maybe you want to switch your personnel around to have your more physical linebacker coming up and smacking him, or having your biggest defensive lineman go against the quick guard, and then your quickest defensive lineman go against the big lineman, right? And see if you can create mismatches that way. Sometimes that's successful. I think that's just good coaching. Okay, so basically what we'd have here, this would be, let's just say our techniques up front. I'll just give it a call here. Let me see if I can get a color for alignments. There we go. Let's just say this is odd Booger 33. Okay, odd Booger 33. So let's talk about this opposite guard key. We see that the left guard here, our screen's left, this left side guard, he blocks down. That Mike is going to know right now to scream off of that. Okay, now between this buck pressuring this and forcing this double team awry, this center having to work off of that, and then him trying to pick this up, theoretically we should spill this guard. This should come in and chase the back, and then we've inserted right there at the point of attack. So even if this guard comes around and hits, okay, we've still got this Leo. Okay, let's say he's just going to take him whatever way he wants to go with that and try to wash him around. Okay, this Leo, if he sees that out block, he knows that the play's probably going away, right? So then he's going to start looking up this window because we've got the edge held, okay, and he knows he's got support from our nickel player rolling down. So he should be squeezing this in from his either apex or 3x5 alignment. You can even cheat him in a little bit, depending if you know it's a heavy run team and you want to play the box heavier. You can mess around the alignment, go 3x3, etc. But we see turn out by this guard, and we see down block, right? So he knows he's got the contain on the Booger. Now he should be able to fit in this window and make it right. So let's say this linebacker, as he hits this, gets trapped by the guard. Then this kid wants to bounce this. Let me go back to blue so that we can see it a little better. The running back sees a whole mess in the middle here. He sees the edge being held, so he tries to bounce it and jab up in there. That's where this Leo, squeezing back down in there, can make a play. And also this free safety, he reads run, should be coming down in the alley to make a play. Alright, so that's one scenario, right? You get down block from the guard. Now, let's show the other scenario where, let's show it off of, we'll say, a Y-off world zone with a sift, with a cutback built-in design. And this is why this is going to be successful for you in a lot of different situations. Same Booger 33, okay? Let me, crap, I gotta go all the way back. Sorry guys, new drawing tool, still getting used to it. So, let's say they want to sift this off of some type of look like this. Same old odd. If we're playing Booger, we like to stem everything out of our 2 shell. Leo's going to be back here. Now, let's talk about this. What kind of problems might this cause, right? If you're trying to play 33 to trips, you're probably going to want to understand that, especially with the overhang and the odd, that you don't want to roll the weak safety down. You're going to want to roll the free safety down, roll to the trips. Not many times do you want to roll away from trips, okay? especially with an overhang on the backside. So it's going to change our coverage just a little bit, but not necessarily in a bad way. Okay, so he's still scooch technique, Rip Liz. He is mod. He's going to be rolling down like this. We still got our spike 5s with our back outs. Okay, back that way, creeping, hitting the hole at the snap, and then we've got our booger opposite the back again. And this is where, if you're a big Rip Liz team, you have to understand when you're rotating, who's rolling, who's not, etc. We got mod on the backside. This kid can realistically be our Rip Liz player on the backside. He can scooch, play the curl flat. Okay, so let's say they want to sift this time. And it's off of the, let's say they want to run like a wide zone with the sift on the backside with the built-in cutback. Or even like a zone bluff with the quarterback read. So let's say we get this where he's going to try to hit shoulder. He's going to try to get there. He's going to try to get shoulder. He's going to try to get there. He's going to try to get shoulder. And they're going to try to work this up. Just like that. Okay. So let's talk about this. Let me get the backfield action going here. Going at the ghost tight end, reading, coming back, and then we've got the sift coming back that way. Okay, let's get back on the defensive side and talk about this for a second. And this is why we read the guard, and this is where this is going to be, I think, hugely successful. So as long as you understand which way you're rotating your cover 3, and you understand what's going on up front and how this is going to fit, the coverage on the outside hasn't changed at all, right? None of this is any different. It's all the same. The difference is we just rotated the shell a different way between the two safeties, our free and our will. We got out block this time. So we know that this A gap is going to be occupied by this buck. So what this means is, in this case, if he goes out, this is the time where he's going to loop back around to fall into this B gap. And you'll see why here in just a second. So in the instance that this guy, let's just say he does get reached, okay? They pin him, and then they're going to try to block him out. He gets cut, whatever. They try to block him out, and this kid tries to climb, okay, which is a pretty common answer. So we've got to block out. He's trying to climb up to the safety, who should be fitting this there. Let me get the color right. You should not be taking on a tackle head on, but you know, you get what I'm saying. Where was I at? I got blue, green, that's what I was at. Okay, what should happen to this is he's going to hit this guard and then probably get almost ricocheted off into the zone side action. So he's going to just hammer into him, and then boom, we've got that flattened out. Or settled down. As this center tries to climb, I'm getting my colors mixed up. It's a good thing I'm not colorblind. As the center's trying to climb, thinking he's going to climb to this backer, he's all of a sudden going to get this flash of buck right in his face right there, which should mess with the center's block and him having to turn back around and try to basically like olay that. Okay, what you've created now is penetration in the A gaps. If this tackle is charging hard like he's supposed to, trying to set the edge, okay, you're going to get your hard edge set. So what does that leave for the running back to do in this case? Okay, he's either got to try to cut up in here and hope there's a crease, which there may be, But you got to understand this kid's going to come, as he comes back, he's going to come down. This kid's squeezing in, and he should be able to make a play either way off of this and get into that picture. So at the very minimum, we've got a whole couple yards there, which for running 2-5 techniques and a nose, 3 to 4 yards on wide zone, it kind of is what it is, right? Okay, not the worst situation. Now let's talk about this, where if, because if he sees this guy flare out, he's probably going to give it, right? Let's say the back starts seeing he's got this edge here, and he's reading like he's supposed to. He sees this edge here, he stops, goes to cut back. Now you've got pressure in the face. Let's say he's agile and tries to cut back this way, you got pressure in the face. Let's say the quarterback misread it and tried to pull it, okay? This guy's either got to react and try to block this, otherwise he's going to penetrate, and if not, this kid's going to come clean on the stiff block, okay? So we've got a lot of issues going there against this front, and you've still got over here, and this is a good football play. I mean, wide zone is not an easy play to defend by any means, but you've still got this overhung here. You've still got the ability to leverage on this side from this guy, and you've still got this guy able to play the middle, right? Or he comes in here, depending on what's going on. So you've got a triangle built around wherever the football could possibly seep out of, and you've created abject chaos in at least 5 of the gaps up front. I'd say that's a successful play. Now, let's switch this to just something simple, a little bit easier to defend. Maybe, let's see what I can do here. I know that's a lot of color, but I think it's easier to see and visualize with different colors. Hopefully nobody's colorblind, otherwise you're just seeing green and red and it's all gray. So, all right, so let's leave it at that for now. Let's say they want to run, let's just say they'll go power to the front side. Okay, and let's, for argument's sake, say it's same side power. So we're going to delete this cat and say he is over here for same side power. And they're trying to get vertical with it. It's a pretty common football play, especially now. Everybody likes the Y-off world. All right, so they want to run power, okay, and they're going to try to do it versus this odd look. Most likely what's going to happen is they're going to try to probably get, if I had to guess, a lot of teams will try to cheat this kid in and have him kick that guy, or they might just try to wash everything down and go one gap wider. So let's just say they try to wash everything down and go one gap wider. Oop, wrong color. I gotta stay consistent here with the colors. Alright, he's hammering down, he's trying to get there. He's going to try to post, he's going to try to hammer down and do this. Wrapping around, pick hinging, and he's going to get that vertical bend path. Open up and say they want to run. Oh, let's just try a spot RPO out here. Off of that, let's just say they run any number of choice route on the backside. Man. Alright, so here we go. What do we do here? We get down block. We know insert right now. Okay. And what should happen here off of this we'll just stick with purple so you can see it. You should get the buck squeezing into that block, the nose squeezing into that block. This guy's on the back side of this, coming around the edge, and he is contained. Quarterback, say something happens, the quarterback peels out. He's got that. Or if he's slow, straight sideways. This kid should be in there, and we've still got it overhung to this side. So we are gapped out, right? And we've still got triangle around the football. So let's say back takes this, guard pulls. If the buck doesn't scrape and ricochet, deflect under the guard there and get into this situation, then this Mike coming in here on the pulling guard is going to be an instant traffic issue for that back. So then he's spilling the power right off the bat. If this tackle's hard charging like he's taught on this particular stunt, if he's hard charging to set the edge, he might have a chance to make a play or at least keep it going that way. Okay, and then it's right to the unblocked free safety and your Sam, who's one of your most athletic players on defense. So you can kind of see how all that works, right? So you get the snag, he's squeezing low shoulder, and then he's in the window to cover the snag and come up and make a play on the football. So we can see how all this works, and this is why the reactionary reading the guard thing pays off, right? And you see off down block, he inserts, off of out block, off of an out block, he crosses over to the opposite side guard. It's really good in the situation where, let's talk about inside zone for just a second, because that's kind of what this was designed for, was to mess that up. So let's say they're trying to run the inside zone play, and they're just going to try to hammer through the chest, kind of post and then work up. Hammer through the chest, hammer through the chest, and work up. Okay, and let's say he's trying to hit that right there. Well, this right here, with the movement just of these two alone, the double A-gap pressure is a great anti-inside zone answer. Okay. On this front side, he should be in that gap. He should be overhung. Okay, he's there ready for a quarterback if he gets out, or he can eventually fold back in to this window there. This guy should be back, and then boom, or boom, depending on where the football's going. In this case, we got outstep, right? So what that should mean, he reads outstep like that. That's when he falls in on the backside like this. So now we've got A, B, C, A. Theoretically, this kid's here. So we've got C, D, and he can come down to play the B late, right? And that's because this center block here, he's going to be expecting a collision of the nose. The nose is probably going to take that center with him to a degree, right? And he's going to be screaming off of that. And now you've got a player right there in the face, and this kid's whiffed. So now the guard's coming up trying to block somebody who's not there, and now you got the free safety ability to make a play, or the weak safety who came back in a position to come up and make a play late, if for some reason this doesn't get blown up in the hole, right? And he doesn't have to slam down outside unnecessarily. Probably on an inside zone play, he's probably going to be looking to back inside a little bit anyway, this free safety here. So you see how this works on run fits. You can see how this works in pressure situations. Now let's just say they run a simple drop back pass, right? Or let's say they want to run a full slide. And this will be the last situation we talk about. We'll be done with this video. It's already a little longer than I was hoping, but we want to cover it thoroughly. All out of the same coverage, all out of the same stunt. let's say they want to run a full slide out of this. He flashes across, and we've got gap, 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 gap. He should be fighting for that contain. He's going to be fighting into that gap anyway. This should deflect and get pressure right now. We've also got the down block here. That means the insert, right? And now we've got pressure theoretically here. Theoretically, this tackle's not going to get down there to stop this mic. So now we've got the mic taken on the back, and he can spill off and get pressure. And we've got the nose possibly getting in there. We've got scramble control players if the quarterback decides to bail, right? Or if he's flash faking and getting back and he panics. Either way, we've got theoretically pressure in the face, and we've got overhangs. Okay, just a little stick or whatever they want to run. Say they run a fin or something. We've got windows covered. We've got this viced. We've got 3 for 2. We've got pressure getting off of the blocks. This is a great stunt, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed coverage of Booger 33. If you want to see a Booger out of Sapphire coverage, let me know. I'll do a video on that as well. Sapphire is basically our 4 under 2 deep. So, all right. Thanks, coaches. Hope you enjoyed. Like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, reach out to me at coachnichols51@gmail.com. COACHNICHOLS 51@gmail.com. Thanks, cheers, and God bless.